This following episode that you guys are about to watch is me and my friend nightbound92, also known as Sean, carrying on with this episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. And I want to thank him personally for taking part in it. And I also want to apologize for the delays in throwing out the episode, but I promise hopefully the less delays we'll have, the better. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the episode. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Living Like Larry podcast, home to video game news, updates, reviews, and many more. Introducing your host, the man known as Reptile on YouTube, Larry the Lobster Henson III. Kick back and enjoy this extraordinary episode of Living Like
Hello everyone,
Larry.
welcome to the Living Like Larry podcast, episode 3. I am the guest questioner of this particular podcast. I am Dog Vice, aka Nightbound92 on here. You might know me as the co-host of the Retro Raiders, and I also do my own channel, which is obviously Nightbound92. And today we have an exciting episode because we're going to be discussing something I'm super passionate about, which is gaming, which is obvious because Larry's also super passionate about it. Obviously, you know, the owner of this channel, the hostess with the mostest, the creator and CEO of Shiz Network, Larry, what Reptile?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest and latest episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. It's actually a huge honor for me to have Nightbound92, my best friend Sean, on this podcast because we've been best friends for 7 years. So I feel like having him guest star on one of my podcasts was a long time coming, and I'm really excited for you to ask all the questions.
Yeah. So, my first question is I'm going to be asking these questions a little out of order, but the first question I'm going to ask is, what are your thoughts on owning a Japanese Sega Saturn? Because this is something we both can have different opinions on.
I can definitely say for sure right now that acquiring a Japanese Sega Saturn is one of my biggest acquisitions for my collection because ever since I bought my my North American podcast back in 2013.
North American podcast? I think you mean North American Sega Saturn.
yeah. But when I bought the North American Saturn, right? It was literally for $40, and it was literally because I used to watch Mark Bussler from Classic Game Room, who really inspired me to really want to buy the Saturn. I mean, Sean himself, like you actually did kind of pique my interest for wanting the Saturn myself because you spoke so highly of it. But it was Mark who basically made me. It was basically at that moment where I knew for sure that I wanted a Sega Saturn, and so when I was up in New Jersey, that was when I bought the North American Saturn. Now, as far as the Japanese Saturn goes, I didn't even think I was gonna have it. To be honest, with you.
You actually picked up the North American Sega Saturn in Jersey when I was living in Jersey.
Isn't that crazy? I literally should have broke into your house and said, "Hey, I got a Sega Saturn," but it didn't happen. So, but when I got the Japanese Saturn, which was I think it was 2 weeks ago, it was literally an eBay listing from someone who lives in New York. It was only like $185, and to be honest with you, considering that it was in the original box, that's actually a really good steal if you ask me. And literally the night I opened up the Saturn and then I plugged it in, like it's hard to describe that feeling. Like you know that feeling where you worked so hard for something and you've always wanted to like obtain it, and you just can't like contain your excitement at the fact that your dream became a reality. Like that's literally how I felt when I got the Saturn. And honestly, this you may or may not disagree, but collecting for the Japanese Saturn is actually a lot better, and I think it's a lot more fun compared to the American Sega Saturn because
it's certainly more cost effective.
Yeah, Yeah, the fact that a lot of the games for the Japanese Saturn is more affordable than I can say for its American counterpart is one of the biggest reasons why I love collecting for the Japanese Saturn. On top of all that, there's just a lot of great games from Japan that deserve to be mentioned and showcased on this channel, just to show how much better the Japanese Saturn was in comparison to its North American counterpart. So yes, I am one of those fans who prefers the Japanese Saturn over the American version.
Well, yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to step away to get some water real quick.
That's 100% completely fine. But all I know, the only thing I can say for sure, like right now, is that if you haven't bought any Sega Saturn, whether it be the American or the Japanese one, you guys might be alright. I mean, you guys might be alright using the Action Replay card, because what the Action Replay card does is that it allows you to use your American Saturn to play Japanese games, and it also acts as not only like it also acts as a RAM card too, so like you can add more games and stuff. Great.
I'm back.
So great.
Yeah, I just need some water because my throat was very dry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. So yeah, with the American Saturn though, for those who wish to only have the American Saturn over the Japanese version, you can always get the Action Replay card, which also does work on the Japanese Saturn for the record. But, you know, there are some people who want to have the American Saturn over the Japanese one, and that's okay, because the Action Replay card makes it so where you can play imports. But I feel like owning a Japanese Sega Saturn, just only in my honest opinion, is a lot more fun, because authenticity, there's nothing else I can say that's better than the real deal, you know what I mean?
I would have to agree. As someone who I've mentioned before,
Yeah.
I also have two Sega Saturns. I have a North American Model 2 Sega Saturn, and I have a Japanese white Model 2 Sega Saturn, and, to have...
and I also have the Model 1s. The Model 1 Sega Saturns for both of them.
Yeah, so to be able to play, it just feels great putting in a piece of Japanese software into a Japanese machine. I mean...
It's literally just being able to play the OG is just a huge honor.
Just to be someone who has two Sega Saturns is a huge honor.
Yeah, same here.
But one thing I feel is important is some people might think that buying a Japanese Sega Saturn is completely pointless if you already have a North American one with an Action Replay card.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it really isn't. Because, one, if you're a collector, just having a Japanese Sega Saturn is just really cool, because they're way more interesting to look at than an American Sega Saturn.
I can definitely say for sure that compared to its American counterpart, I think it has the better console design, simply because of how, just because of the color choices and all that.
The console designs are essentially the same. It's just the color choices behind the designs. Yeah. For me, someone I think Larry would know, as Larry probably knows, I'm constantly someone who fluctuates between either the Dreamcast being my favorite console of all time or the Sega Saturn being my favorite console.
Very understandable, because both of them are very great. Both of them are some of my favorite game systems ever made.
So the cool thing for me about owning a Japanese Model 2 Sega Saturn is that a lot of pretty much the entire color scheme of that console was brought over into the Dreamcast, going into its design. So,
yep.
Just the fact that those two consoles matched that well is awesome. Also, I love the Japanese boot up screen. It's amazing.
Oh yes, it's one of my favorite boot screens of all time.
I have nostalgia for the North American one.
Same here.
But it's just really cool. The Japanese.
They were both. It was like a very distinct identity, because you had the American version, which kind of made it. It was very soothing and calming. It kind of sets the mood of you just relaxing and about to play some awesome Sega Saturn games. And then you have the Japanese version, which just has this very loud fanfare, almost like it's epic. Like you are about to play the best of the best on this system. That's just what it sounded like.
There's just a lot of energy behind the boot up screen to the Japanese one when compared to the North American one.
And I gotta say, for a system that didn't have like the longest lifespan compared to the Genesis and other systems that existed at the time, the Saturn was one hell of a console, that's for sure. It wasn't until as of recently where people finally understood what the Saturn was trying to do and what made it so unique to that of the PlayStation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you would agree that, like, when it comes to playing Japanese imports, I'm pretty sure you would agree that you're going to stick to playing Japanese games on your Japanese Saturn.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I'm probably
And that your American Saturn will pretty much be an exclusively playing American software on our console.
Exactly. The fact that like we both own like different Sega Saturns means that we can put them into use for, you know, different situations and stuff. So we're literally getting our money's worth just from playing both of them.
Because well, look, not everyone can afford. Not everyone's gonna want to have two Sega Saturns. Mainly collectors. I already own multiples of a few consoles, and if I'm gonna own multiples of any console, if I'd want to, I'd be the Sega Saturn. So to have two Sega Saturns is a big deal to me because it's one of my favorite consoles of all time. So to have two of them is just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I have to.
I gave Austin, my co-host of
the Retro Raiders,
my old action replay cart, so he could play Japanese games on his Saturn because he wants to start collecting, and he's going to start collecting Japanese games, which is awesome.
I'm actually very, very excited for him to finally start gaming on the Japanese Saturn.
Fun games, which is also awesome. So he's definitely, and 64 games, so he's definitely been embracing that generation. But I didn't really see a purpose in having an action replay if I have a Japanese Sega Saturn.
I would have done the same thing myself. But at the same time, also, like, if you're looking to have, like, extra storage to save your games, then it definitely would have been somewhat ideal. But I know there are other RAM cards that do exist out there that is an action replay that do the same thing.
Yeah, I would, honestly, I play a lot of arcade games on Saturn. And, like, the game I play the most that I think requires a memory card would be Nights into Dreams. But Nights into Dreams is a game I can beat in one go. So, I don't really... Well, I have... Well, obviously, Mega Man X4, Tomb Raider, and...
Mega Man X4 and Tomb Raider are definite classics, man.
But, you know, those games obviously require some kind of memory card or some kind of memory to save their games, which obviously is something I would want to do. But, like, whenever I play my North American Sega Saturn games, the games I probably play the most are Nights into Dreams,
Nights into Dreams, there you go, Stall.
Virtual Cop.
I gotta say, right now, Estelle is really one of the like best looking like 2D platform games I've ever seen. Like artistically.
Last Bronx is a really good game for North American Sega Saturn.
There you go.
There are quite a few games that I play on the Street Fighter Alpha 2. I have a long box complete English version of Alpha 2 on Saturn.
And I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but I also happen to have Alpha 2 in Japan, known as Zero 2, on the Saturn as well, as part of the Street Fighter collection.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome that you actually ended up getting that, because I know how much you wanted that game.
It's funny, because when I literally went on the eBay listing, like, I knew it was a compilation of Street Fighter games, but I just wasn't expecting that particular disc to be Zero.
Yeah.
That was the part that surprised me. I remember distinctly when I first got the game and then I booted it up on the Japanese Saturn, thinking that, you know, I was probably going to play, you know, Street Fighter 2 or something like that. And then I was surprised when the title showed Street Fighter 02, and then my jaw dropped to the floor. And Sean saw my whole reaction when I first played it.
Yeah. No, when he first put it in, I think I said specifically, hold on a second. You said you had the second disc, right? And you were like, yeah. And I'm like, I think that might be 02.
At that time, I was very skeptical, so I put it in, and then the title showed up, and like, it pretty much just brightened my whole night, and I couldn't even stop playing it. It was literally that fun.
Like, if you think, like, when Larry first got his copy of Radiant Silvergun, which is what we're going to be talking in the next subject, he, like, the levels of hype that he felt for Radiant Silvergun were comparable to the levels of hype when he realized that I had 02 for the Saturn.
Dude, I can't even explain it. I still remember that moment to, like, literally as of right now. It's gonna forever be one of my favorite moments in the history of me, like, being a video game collector.
No, yeah, it's awesome that he was able to, you know.
Overall, I'm just having a lot of fun with my Japanese Sega Saturn right now. Actually, this is literally like the only retro game console I've been playing a lot as of late.
Yeah. What would you say are some of your favorite games that you've experienced on the Japanese Saturn so far, just in general?
Like, that's actually a really good question. In general, I would say,
I mean, obviously, Radiant Silvergun is a huge one, but we're going to be talking about that. So, like, besides Radiant Silvergun.
Yeah. Besides that game, Fighters Mega Mix and The House of the Dead, both of which were games that Sean had bought for me for my 21st birthday, which I have to thank you for because it really meant a lot, especially with the current crisis situation that we're living in. So the fact that you did that meant a lot. Those two games are just like, you know, amazing. Like, the first House of the Dead on Saturn just has it just have a very horrible reputation of being, like, criticized by a lot of gamers, saying that, the game is very inferior graphically, like, to the arcade, because the arcade had higher graphics, which it did, because I actually saw the arcade cabinet when I was at the shore last Saturday, and the frame rate was just obviously not as good because the original arcade ran at 60 frames, whereas the Saturn is like 30 or below or whatever. But I feel like people were just, kind of missing the idea that despite it not being, literally arcade perfect to the original, that it's still a fun light gun shooter to play. It's still a really fun game to play, really. And the fact that there's multiple endings depending on how you run through the game and all that stuff just adds considerable replay value to this game. So that's one of the reasons why The House of the Dead is one of my favorites. On the other hand, Fighters Mega Mix, I have to admit, it really is one of the best 3D fighters I've ever played on the Sega Saturn. The large character roster, the excellent fighting engine that was, adapted from Fighting Vipers. It was just a feast to the eye. Even though I love this game, it's not my favorite 3D fighter on the Saturn. That would be Dead or Alive. I can literally go on all day if I wanted to talking about how much I love Dead or Alive. Not just the first game, but the series as a whole. But I'm just gonna strictly focus on the Saturn version. This game, if there's any arcade perfect 3D fighters on the Saturn, that would be Virtua Fighters 1 and 2 and Dead or Alive. Like, Dead or Alive is like, it very much looks exactly like the arcade version, like, very much. Like, the graphics still holds up in 2020 and the game runs at a solid 60 frames per second. And this is something that a lot of old school systems kind of perfected, but the Saturn especially, like when it came to 3D fighters and even 2D fighters as well, like, the Saturn was just nailing it when it came to fighters. Because, like, a lot of the fighting games that I've played on the Saturn just ran very well with literally 0 frame drops. So I think it's really fun to play fighting games on the Saturn. Like, I think especially 2D fighters in particular, I think it's a lot more fun to play them on the Saturn compared to the PS1.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you like that. Because, like, the Sega Saturn on paper is just a much stronger piece of hardware.
Yeah.
Than the PlayStation, even though the PlayStation had three really good 3D looking games, but those 3D games don't look so hot these days, whereas the 2D Saturn games look really good by today's standards.
I definitely have to concur with you on that, brother.
Okay, so, what? I know you have some other games on the Japanese Saturn. I know you have... Hold on a minute. Let me go to your
I do
VG.
have King of Fighters 95, which came with the ROM card when I got it. Now it was difficult trying to get the ROM card to work because the ROM card, considering that it's an old cartridge, of course it's not gonna work perfectly the minute you use it. So you do have to clean it in order for it to work. But when I did get it to work, boy, oh boy, did I enjoy playing 95 on the Saturn. It has the loading time on the Saturn is very, very fast, almost to the point where it doesn't even happen. And the colors and the overall staple gameplay of 95 is why I think it was one of the best console ports of 95 at the time. Now, of course, you have the definitive version, which was the Neo Geo AES, and if you were one of the few gamers who owned that piece of hardware in the 90s when it was so popular at the time, then congratulations, because you were able to play Neo Geo games at their best. But if you had a cheaper alternative, like either the Saturn or the PlayStation 1, I would say playing SNK Fighters on Saturn was definitely much better, especially knowing my experience from 95.
Yeah. So, next, I think it's important. We'll go into the next subject, which is a big subject, especially for collectors, is definitely the game Radiant Silvergun. So, how does it feel to own such a desirable title in your collection?
To be honest with you, from the moment I've watched Mark from Classic Game Room, and he brought up Radiant Silvergun as one of the top, shoot 'em up games on the Saturn, right next to Darius Gaiden, Galactic Attack, the Salamander collection, and Thunder Force. I didn't think out of all of them that the game that my first ever shoot 'em up game that I was gonna buy for the Sega Saturn was Radiant Silvergun. And yes, for those who don't know, yes, Radiant Silvergun is my very first shoot 'em up game I ever bought for the Sega Saturn, whether it be for America or Japan. Yes, Radiant Silvergun is my first. So I did not expect to get Radiant Silvergun at this magnitude, especially again with the current crisis that we're living in. The fact that I have Radiant Silvergun, honestly, I'm just at a loss for words, because on top of it being basically one of the best games I've ever played, it truly is one of the best games on the Saturn and one of the rarest to obtain nowadays. Now, for casuals, you can easily obtain the game through XBLA, but that being said, the Saturn version is very, very hard to come by nowadays because of the high demand. So the fact that I managed to find a complete copy of Radiant Silvergun with the spine card, I think that really says a lot about how much I am as a video game collector. The fact that I was willing to go above and beyond to achieve my outer heavens, so to speak.
Yeah, it was definitely a big goal. It's not necessarily a big goal for me as a Saturn collector, but for most Saturn collectors, that's a huge achievement. So definitely congratulations to you on that, attaining that game. So
thank you so much, dude. That really means a lot coming from you, especially a huge Sega Saturn fan like yourself. That's a very, very huge compliment for you to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people to think obviously he's not that big of a Saturn fan. If he doesn't want to own Radiant Silvergun, it's not that I don't want to own the game. It's just that it's just not a game that I have to have.
You really don't. You really, really don't.
I'm someone who I like the Mega Man series. I like Street Fighter, King of Fighters, stuff like that. Those are the games I'm interested in. Platformers like Sonic, games like that. RPGs like Grandia 2, the Evolution series on the Dreamcast. Games like that.
Those same genres that you mentioned just now are also some of my favorites too.
Racing games like Mario Kart, Mario Karts, your Crash Team Racings, Daytona USA,
and Crash Team Racing are definitely some of my favorites.
So games like that are definitely what I'm after. Like Biohazard Battle on the Sega Genesis. It's a side-scrolling space shooter. I really like that game. I really liked that as a kid, but it's definitely not my favorite game on the Genesis. So, for someone who loves shoot 'em ups like Larry, the Reptile, it's an incredible thing that he has it, because it's very important to him that he has that game in his collection.
And since we are on the topic of shoot 'em up games, especially with Radiant Silvergun being called one of the best of the genre, there's, like I said, there are like a lot of shoot 'em up games that I feel like are some of the best games ever made and stuff. Like you have Space Invaders, and you also have Asteroids, Galaxin, Galaga, Gradius, Life Force. There's a lot of them out there.
I mean, I love the original Raiden game, the original arcade game.
There was Raiden too.
I really like Galaga, Galaxian, things like that. But those are a lot more simple. That's kind of where I am on the shoot 'em up genre. It's kind of like Life Force on the original Nintendo. Great game.
Because you see, Radiant Silvergun is literally in the same category as games like Life Force, because even though it's a shoot 'em up game with a very simple control scheme, what really sells these games is the fact that you have so many different weapons that you can use, and especially in Life Force in particular, where you're able to upgrade your weapons, obtain like assist shooters, and obtain shields and stuff. Like, that's what made these games so fun, is that you were able to make yourself better.
Yeah, the closest thing to shoot 'em ups that I play on the Saturn is definitely the Panzer Dragoon games.
Oh yeah, it's funny because Panzer Dragoon is actually is also pretty high on my wish list. Actually, I know that the Japanese version in particular is import friendly, so if I do find a complete copy of it for the Japanese Saturn, you can pretty much almost guarantee that one's going to be in my collection pretty soon.
I think the second game's actually cheaper. To get the second import game is actually a little bit cheaper than the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still reasonably priced. I don't know if I'm not going to get Panzer Dragoon RPG or Saga as it was released in Japan, because obviously I am not a Japanese speaker.
And one thing I also need to mention about Radiant Silvergun 2 is that if you guys are also very familiar with who the developer is, Treasure, it's probably no wonder why this game was so awesome. But for those who don't know, Treasure was the same developers as Gunstar Heroes on the Sega Genesis, which is one of my favorite games on the Genesis, for the record. And then they also did the very famous Guardian Heroes, which was basically an action beat-em-up RPG for the
Guardian
Sega Saturn.
Heroes is easily one of my favorite North American Sega Saturn games to play.
Really not. It's not hard to see why. You see, I actually managed to play Guardian Heroes a couple times via a Sega Saturn emulator, and pretty much after playing that was when I was certain that I truly do want to have Guardian Heroes in my collection, because the mechanics and everything, especially as someone who loves beat 'em up games, obtaining Guardian Heroes is definitely a must for your Sega Saturn collection.
As much as I would love to own Panzer Dragoon RPG, or as it was called again in the West, Saga, I can't afford. No, I don't understand Japanese, so the import version isn't exactly viable to me, and
definitely not very import friendly.
High price. I just can't afford the high price for, I might get Panzer Dragoon RPG just for completionist sake, for the collection. just so I can say I have all three Panzer
All
Dragoon.
three Panzer Dragoon games. I feel like that. I feel like it would be so awesome if you do manage to acquire Panzer Dragoon Saga on the Sega Saturn.
I mean, getting the Japanese version would not be impossible.
The only issue is that it's not very import friendly because of the fact that you have to read like a lot of text and stuff. Just like when I bought Grandia.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get a Japanese. I mean, it would be great to have it, even if I don't play it. Buy it just to say I have all three of the Panzer Dragoon games on the Saturn, and that'd be cool to be able to say. And if I ever really wanted to play it, I guess I could watch an English walkthrough of the game.
Exactly.
And follow along.
And about Radiant Silvergun too. About that, Radiant Silvergun is also one of the very few shoot 'em up games where it has like an actual plot, and it's told in a very non-linear path through the use of anime and scripted dialogue between like stages and stuff. And believe it or not, the people who actually did these animated cutscenes is a very famous anime studio called Gonzo. So you can thank them for animating the scenes in this game. And honestly, they look really good. They really do, because
I've actually watched some anime by Studio Gonzo.
Yeah, the animations are really good, and Radiant Silvergun is it's one of those games where the story isn't so heavy, so you don't really need to know it, especially since it's very simple, because like it literally like revolves around like a team of fighter pilots who are in the distant future, and they're like battling like a whole wave of enemies that are like summoned by a mysterious crystal. Like if you guys saw my live stream, like there's this mysterious crystal that was in the game was dug up from the earth, and that's what's causing like all these enemies to like kind of spawn in and like start wreaking havoc to the planet. And so these team of fighters are trying to save the world from these entities. So so I feel like it's a very fun, simple story, and that's really all you need. And aside from that, the game overall, like gameplay wise, it just really is. It's just really great. Like, I'm serious. Although I do have to say this right now, it's one of the hardest games ever made. I can definitely say that for sure.
It's basically Welcome to Dark Souls, bitch.
And on the topic of Radiant Silvergun, also they also had a spiritual sequel called I think it was called Akarugi or Akaraga or something like that.
Ikaruga.
Oh, Ikaruga, thank you. Yeah, much like Radiant Silvergun, Ikaruga is also regarded as one of the best shoot 'em up games ever made as well. Even though when it first came out, like in Japan, it was more like a mixed reaction, but over time, it kind of gained like a cult following, especially amongst like import gamers, and it's considered one of the best of the genre. So it's available on the Japanese Dreamcast. It's also available on the Nintendo GameCube. You can also download it on PC, the Nintendo Switch, and PS4. And you can also download it on XBLA as well. So trying to acquire this game compared to Radiant Silvergun is actually not as hard.
I just sent Larry something that he might be interested in.
And what we got over here is X-Men versus Street Fighter with the 4 megabyte RAM card. That's awesome. That is awesome, because I know that in Japan they mostly use a lot of like I know they mostly use like the RAM cards and everything, but I believe in America, like if you were to own like the American version of like say Marvel Superheroes or whatever, like or X-Men versus Street Fighter, you probably wouldn't need the RAM card, because in America I don't think they used it as much.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter never came out in the States.
Oh, it never came out in the States. That was Marvel Superheroes I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, Marvel Superheroes came out in the States, and you can indeed use the 4 meg cart on an American Saturn to get the extra frames of animation for Marvel Superheroes. I've done it before.
So that's pretty cool. The fact that you're able to use this RAM card that was only released in Japan on a North American Saturn, that's good.
Yep.
And I also want to bring up too. I also want to bring this up too about how amazing of a week this has been, because in the span of 2 weeks at the most, I'd say, I managed to acquire a $2,000 gaming PC created by ASUS, known as the ROG Strix, and ROG stands for Republic of Gamers. And if you guys saw my test live stream from last night, where I was kind of testing the capabilities to see if my PC would be able to stream and record my games at the same time when they're at like their highest settings, you can see that it came out pretty well. Now, if you guys are wondering why the quality wasn't like super duper sharp, you got to keep in mind that it was a live stream. So because I was live streaming, sometimes the kilobytes per second would sometimes drop, which would make the quality look like crap. But if I was to record offline at the highest quality, and then use like a video editor, like say Power Director or whatever, which is what I use most of the time anyway, 9 times out of 10 you would get like the best quality possible. Like literally, like that's literally what I'm trying to do. Is that for the future of basically for the overall future of the channel, which I do want to very quickly get out of the way, because there's just a couple more things that I do want to discuss before we end the podcast for today. But for the overall plans, because I have my laptop and this recording equipment and all that, what I want to do.
We still have a few more things that we need to discuss before the podcast ends.
Yeah, exactly. We do. I actually do want to talk about how my gaming PC is overall, and I also want to discuss my first impressions of Mortal Kombat 11 after doing it on the stream last night. But very quickly, before this leaves my mind, I just want to very quickly announce that for the retro/let's play series that I'm running on my channel and everything, basically you guys are going to see a lot more gameplay videos from a lot of PC games that I own and all that stuff, because as I made it very clear, my PC is going to be my current gen game system as of literally as of right now. But what you guys will see more videos on Mortal Kombat. We're going to do Mortal Kombat 9. Hopefully, when Nightbound goes back to his home in Florida, we will also do videos of retro Let's Plays where we're playing games like, the first 3 Tekken games, Marvel Superheroes, and Marvel vs. Capcom vs. SNK, Soul Calibur, King of Fighters, among many, many others. Because the video that we did on Capcom vs. SNK 2, when I was playing with my friend DJ Dreamer, who you guys probably best know as Jordan from my King of Fighters 13 video, it came out pretty well. So, and I've always wanted to do like a Let's Play where I'm collaborating with somebody and we're playing games together and all that stuff, kind of like James and Mike Mondays. So that's the future that. That's what I want to do for the future of the retro/Let's Play series. That you guys are going to see more gameplay videos and stuff. And I also want to announce that just like how I played through Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I also own on PC, but I also managed to acquire another game on PC known as Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I've been wanting this game since the day it came out, but I actually saved that in favor of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So now that I finally have a Resident Evil 3 Remake on PC, you guys will see a playthrough of Resident Evil 3 coming very, very soon. I just want to get familiar with the mechanics before I eventually do it, because I don't like doing blind playthroughs all that much. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys will also see more Dead or Alive videos, because my Dead or Alive videos have actually done pretty well too. Like, I remember when I did Dead or Alive 5 last round, I did I did 2 videos on them. One of them was when I played through the game with Jackie Bryant, my main from Virtua Fighter, and then the other video that I did was with Kasumi and Ayane, which I was actually lucky enough that I actually ran through that game the way I did, because like I literally almost lost this one game where Mila was pressuring me, but I was able to punish her, so that was fun. And hopefully I might also bring back DOA 5 last round also, because DOA 5 last round was really great. It was really good. But I also want to kind of do more DOA 6 just to show more appreciation for this game compared to most people, because like I said, like I do get why some people say it's flawed, like not only because of the overall like the just overabundance of DLC that's very expensive as hell, but you also have the fact that the story mode in it is pretty lackluster, and I do kind of agree, because like I feel like they definitely could have done better with it. But gameplay wise, I think DOA 6 is one of the best of the series. Feel free to argue me with that in the comments if you will. I'm very much okay with that. But you will see more DOA 6 videos on the channel too. Because the only one that I did thus far was when I did a normal playthrough with Ayane, and it was really fun. I've actually gotten a whole lot better with Ayane in DOA 6 since then, because actually overall she's my main in Dead or Alive, but in DOA 6 in general, like I do know her bread and butter combos and stuff like that. So when I do another playthrough with her eventually, like whether it be survival or something, survival mode in DOA is actually really fun. You guys will definitely see more videos on that game as well. And also, at the request of one of my fans, because I remember I did a live stream a while ago, I will be doing a playthrough of Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, and because I also own it on Steam as well, I'm also going to do an official playthrough of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which I can safely, without spoiling the game too much, I know it's been out for a while, but I'm not going to really spoil it for those who never played it. But I can say that this game is one of the best like hack and slash beat 'em up games I've ever played. Like, even though it's so different from Metal Gear's usual style, like as a hack and slash game, it's definitely one of the best that the genre has to offer, and I highly recommend getting Metal Gear Rising. On top of all that, like it just has a great storyline that was able to continue from the continuity of Guns of the Patriots. Because the only thing I will say is that Metal Gear Rising takes place 4 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots, which is literally basically the final Metal Gear game, like chronologically. Because if you guys saw my playthrough, you already know Snake had aged. He retired. He's living the rest of his life in peace. Big Boss passed away. Not only that, but pretty much all the members of the Patriots passed away, pretty much, including Zero, literally at the very end of the game. So yeah, it was a fitting conclusion to the Metal Gear saga, or at least the Snake saga. For Raiden, on the other hand, there was definitely a lot more to tell, and I feel like Konami definitely missed out on like capitalizing on the success of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and actually like having a whole series of games on Raiden, because since that game had came out, a lot of people kind of started to appreciate Raiden for who he was. Because you got to remember, when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, he wasn't very much appreciated that much. A lot of people thought that he was just a Snake copy, and he was so young and inexperienced and naive and all that stuff. But I feel like that's what made him such a relatable character. And then since that game, we see all the struggles that he goes through, physically and mentally, and that's why I think he's one of the best characters in the series. So, with that said, you guys will see a playthrough of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I might actually wind up doing that one first before I do Portable Ops, only because like I have very much easy access to Rising right now. So that's definitely going to happen in the near future. And I also want to throw in Killer Instinct as well. I don't even know how I forgot about Killer Instinct, because I have the first one and the second one both on my main emulators, and I also have the 2013 game on Steam as well. And
hey Larry, what's
yes.
on that?
What'd you say?
Me and you can run sets on the 2013 version because it's cross-platform with the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is. I actually did. You know what? It's funny because I literally forgot that, but I can definitely. But I'm looking forward to that. Maybe you can definitely run sets on that as part of the Let's Play series that I have on the channel.
Yep.
So what do you know? That's another game on the list. And I'm also gonna do, and because some people actually really liked it when I was doing Tekken 7 and Dragon Ball Fighters, you will see more videos on that too. You will see more videos.
I might actually be able to play those games with Larry through Parsec.
Oh yes, I'm very, very excited for the future of the retro / Let's Play series, where basically we're going to be giving you a well balanced Let's Play series involving gameplay and commentary as well, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And what do you have to say about that, Sean?
I'm really looking forward to the future. Hopefully, this semester, taking 3 classes won't destroy me, and I'll actually have time to...
I hope college doesn't destroy me either, so we always find a way to get out of it.
But I'm also going to be working, so it's going to be
Same
quite
here.
an adventure juggling everything, but I'll make it work.
Same here, dude. Same here. And with all of that out of the way, I actually want to talk about my gaming PC, my ASUS ROG Strix.
We already talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit, but there were some things that I actually missed out.
Okay.
And that was the overall tech specs. Like, I never actually explained it. Some people actually don't know what my tech specs are. For those of you who wish to know what my tech specs are, it's a 10th generation Intel Core i7, so it's the most recent one. More specifically, if you're wondering which processor chip it is, it's the Intel Core i7 what was it? Yeah, it was the 10750H. And if you guys want to know how much RAM I have, 32 gigs. There was actually a 64 gig version of the ROG Strix that I could have gotten, but I thought 32 was more than enough. And plus, it was going to be about $100 more and stuff just to get 64 gigs of RAM. It probably would have been worth it, but I'm just trying to be very careful. I don't want to really throw out my financial business out on YouTube, but and as far as the graphics card goes, it uses Intel UHD graphics, but the primary graphics chip that it uses is NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 with 8 gigs of VRAM. So this one is literally top of the line. I know that the 2080 Super also exists, but for the most part, they usually exist for kind of upgrading your PC to 4K quality. And believe it or not, the RTX 2070 can also do 4K pretty well too. But if you want that extra power, then doing the 2080 is no problem. But other than that, if you're trying to get something that's top of the line that still works very well, the RTX 2070 is definitely one of the best graphics cards to use. Because I've ran every single game that I own on the highest settings I could go, and not once did I see any frame drops at all. It was incredible. And as far as how emulators run on here, because I'm pretty sure somebody's probably gonna ask me oh well, how does PCSX2 works on here? Because that's a very hard emulator to run on either mid-range computers or especially low-end. Oh my god. PCSX2 actually runs very, very, very good on here. Because I remember when I had my Lenovo, which I gave to my brother since then, I would often try to run a Soul Calibur 3 on there, and it would always slow down. But when I was playing some of it last night, The game ran very, very well. I still have to kind of like set, and keep in mind the settings were on default, so I didn't exactly like upscale it yet. I mean, since then I have, and I've tested it out again, and again it just runs very well. So if there's any emulator on here that I would probably put a lot of hours into, it would probably be PCSX2, only because PS2 is one of my favorite systems ever, right there with the PS1. So I would probably put in a lot of hours into it. But again, like I said, I don't like to record emulators in particular. I usually prefer to record on my original hardware. The only time where I make exceptions to this is if I'm doing PSP games, for instance, even though I know I can use my original PSP and plug it in through the USB and record it through Remote Joy Lite, like I know I can do that, but using the PPSSPP emulator is a lot better, for me at least. But also when it comes to PCSX2, doing videos with that emulator, if I'm like running sets with either my friend Sean or Jordan, this would literally be the only way that I would be able to play them in those games, unless they have like a PS2 and they have like a whole Ethernet cable and they're able to like plug it in through third-party servers or whatever, which I have done before, but I know that's not happening. So that's the only time where I'll make exceptions to that rule. Other than that, like the majority of my Let's Play games and stuff like that, they're all like with the original hardware. Okay. But speaking of hardware, when I ran Mortal Kombat 11 last night, it started up with the highest graphical settings. Like I didn't even have to change anything. From the moment of booting it up, not only was loading times really fast, but the game like just ran very, very well. And while we're on this topic, let me talk about my first impressions of Mortal Kombat 11. One thing, there's one question I do need to ask for you, Sean, in particular. How was your experience with Mortal Kombat 11?
My first experience with Mortal Kombat 11, that's an interesting one. So, my first experiences playing with Mortal Kombat 11 were all genuinely positive experiences. I definitely prefer the game over Mortal Kombat X. And I know some people...
Mortal Kombat X is my favorite too.
No, I definitely prefer it over Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I like Mortal Kombat better than I like the Mortal Kombat X. I don't know. When I first got it, I thought I was going to have Scorpion as my main, but no, Scorpion's actually the furthest thing from my main. My main is actually Kung Lao. The netcode's great for that game. I've had no problems getting an online match when the game first came out. Because I actually picked up the game the day it launched. There are a few things I don't like more about Mortal Kombat, how they handle some of the crypt stuff, but like besides that, the gameplay is fine. I think it's a good game.
Yeah, gameplay wise, it really is great. I really enjoy it.
It does the job.
I can say that for me personally, Mortal Kombat 11 is a welcome addition, a latest addition to the franchise. And to be honest, around the time when Mortal Kombat X came out, I honestly didn't even know there was gonna be another one. But then again, Mortal Kombat is one of the most famous fighting game franchises of all time. So thinking of a video game world without Mortal Kombat is just damn near impossible. Like I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
But for Mortal Kombat 11 in general, though, from what I understand, I know it uses a heavily modified version of the Unreal Engine 3 from Mortal Kombat X, which is why the gameplay is slightly different. But other than that, it still plays very well. And the graphics, like if you saw it on my stream last night, the graphics are freaking awesome, dude. Like it's definitely one of the best looking Mortal Kombat games I've ever seen. Definitely. And the overall like art style is just oh my god, it's just outstanding. It's incredibly breathtaking. I can't really comment too much on the story because I have not played the story yet. But have you played the story of Mortal Kombat 11?
Yeah, I played through the story. It's pretty good. It's okay.
Like compared to some of the other Mortal Kombat games, was it like better or was it inferior?
I still think Mortal Kombat 9 had the best story.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 definitely did.
I think MK11 story is like my second favorite story mode in a NetherRealm fighting game.
And as far as netcodes go, I know that it's been highly praised by a lot of people because they say that the netcode compared to its predecessors was actually very much improved. That's something that I can't really comment on too much because I have not played online on Mortal Kombat 11 yet. But when I do, you guys will see videos on that. But there are some videos that I've done of Mortal Kombat X online that I still have to upload. There was this one in particular where I was just like decimating people with Katana on Mortal Kombat XL. And I forgot to upload that as part of my Let's Play series, but you will see that soon. But Mortal Kombat 11 also is going to get is also going to have some videos thrown out onto the channel as well. And I'll still do Mortal Kombat X only because like not only do I still have it on my PS4, but I also have Mortal Kombat X on PC. I have 9, I have X, and I have 11 on Steam. So I have all 3 of the Mortal Kombat games that's on PC, or at least the recent ones, like by NetherRealm. But I know the original 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are also available on PC, but they're not on Steam. You have to get them on a site called, GOG.com, I believe.
That's how I got them.
Yeah, so that's the only place where I know where you can obtain like the older games. But like if you're trying to get like the NetherRealm Mortal Kombat games, starting with 9, you can easily find them on Steam. Literally no issues. And the Aftermath DLC also. Oh my god, man! It's first off, they included the T-800 Terminator, and they also have the Joker in it. Especially as someone who loves Terminator and DC, this is a very welcome addition to Mortal Kombat 11. Like honestly, like I really want to learn the both of those. It will be kind of super difficult because I'm very much attached to Katana right now. But when I do find the time to learn them, you'll probably be seeing me mowing down people with the T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger style, if you know what I mean. And
Sexually.
and then I also might be blowing heads off with the Joker.
Sexually.
Oh my god, no! Oh my god. But the only thing that I know, that from what I understand, that people don't like is like the microtransactions and grind, the over reliance on grinding and stuff. Which is funny because these same issues right here is exactly what I have with Dead or Alive 6. It's the same damn thing. Like the microtransactions, particularly the DLC, and then you also have the grinding part because like you see. You might be wondering, what do I mean by DOA 6 is over-reliance on grinding? Let me explain. Because in DOA 5 last round, right, if you were to beat the arcade mode or survival with one of the characters, you can actually unlock their costumes and whatnot. You know, you didn't have to earn parts of it in order to unlock them like in DOA 6. So like if it's like say I beat arcade mode with Kasumi or something in DOA 5 last round. I can easily like unlock her costumes and keep it going up until like I unlock all the costumes that'll allow me to, besides the DLC ones. In DOA 6, however, what you have to do is that you have to you can either do the arcade mode with the characters, or this is the bullshit part. You have to play a mode called DOA Quest. What this is that it's basically like a set of missions where you play with each respective character for that mission, and in order to unlock parts of their costumes, you literally have to like complete all the mission tasks, like literally all of them per level, and when you do get the parts, right, you have to like make sure you have fight money in order to buy them. That's one of the few things that I don't like about DOA 6, and it sounds like Mortal Kombat 11 has that same problem. But that's how a lot of games are nowadays. Not just on the part of grinding. I know not all of them do it, but as far as microtransactions goes, that's just the way gaming is nowadays. That's how most game companies make their money now.
So, overall, would you say that Mortal Kombat 11 has been a positive experience for you?
Yes, it has. But if you look past its flaws, Mortal Kombat 11 is a great fighting game. A very, very, very welcome new addition to the series. And let's hope that Ed Boon and NetherRealm Studios will hopefully, make more in the future. Or hopefully, we'll see a Mortal Kombat 12, because I really do like the direction that 11 is going in. It sucks that Melina is not in. I know Melina does appear in Mortal Kombat 11 through the use of the friendship finishing move, which, for the record, I actually do like the friendship finishing move mechanic simply because of how lighthearted and ridiculous it is. But I know Melina does appear that way, but she's not a playable character like she is in X, which sucks. But hopefully there will come like a DLC where they will make her a downloadable character. I mean, it sucks I would have to pay for her, but I would still do it because Melina is awesome.
So, is there anything you'd like to ask me regarding future projects or anything?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. To close out this podcast, I want to know what is going to be for the future of the Retro Raiders. Like, I can safely say for sure that after looking and watching at the Retro Raiders content and stuff, I think it has a lot of potential, and because it's like when I watch the Retro Raiders videos, it's almost like watching Classic Game Room, Game Sack, and Retromancers mostly Game Sack for the most part, roll into one. Like, I would say it mostly kind of takes from Game Sack, because it's usually like a duo group who talks about video games together and all that stuff, and the Retro Raiders in particular, they do the same thing, but it's not a direct ripoff. Like, you guys are really doing your own thing. You guys are taking the ball and you're running with it. And I want to know if you guys are going to be doing more reviews or anything like that in the future. Tell us what's the future for the Retro Raiders.
I think going forward, a lot when we discuss consoles and stuff like that, it's definitely going to be very much how we did the Dreamcast video. It's going to be us two picking out games that have special memories for us, or games that really had an impact on us. So with the Sega Saturn, when we do that video, which we're planning on doing, relatively soon. Austin plays a lot of my games, and to a lesser extent, I play some of the games he gets, and we both have shared experiences with the Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, obviously, as we did the video, 64, PS1, GameCube, PS2, PS3. We have a lot of gaming history and all that. So we definitely are looking forward to doing more videos like that. Apparently, we're going to be hitting up a lot more thrift stores when it comes to doing actual retro rating videos. So, look forward to that. If
there's one thing that I can say with regards to Retro Raiders, is that the way your editing style worked is it kind of played a massive inspirational role in the SOG review series, particularly when I'm reviewing consoles and stuff, because I really liked how when you guys are talking about a certain game, when you're talking about a system, you show gameplay to demonstrate it to the audience, and it makes up for great storytelling, if you ask me. It really does. In fact, that's how I know that's how a lot of game reviewers usually do it.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as far my creative process when I'm doing helping produce some of these videos is yes, Austin's the one sitting at the computer, constructing it, but I also played a role as visual director for a lot of the videos. So I basically decide where would the fade-ins happen, where would the fade-outs happen, where will a clip go in relation to what we're talking about. So I guess in a way you would say I'm the visual director for Retro Raiders, as well as the co-founder of it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And honestly, I wish nothing but the best future for the both of you. You know, I am gonna be your number one fan here. So
the thing with the Retro Raiders is obviously you know that I might be moving away from Florida in a year or two, so it's gonna be a bit tougher. I definitely want to get as many videos as we can out before I have to leave, if I leave. So hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more videos coming. You know, it just sucks that the year 2020 has been like the way it's been, because we really did want to do a lot of videos.
Yeah, it's just that COVID-19 just happened, and it's been affecting everyone.
We really did want to do a lot of video game console reviews this summer. It just, you know, summer is weeks away from being over, so we just didn't get to do a lot of what we wanted to. But
don't worry, there's always the next time, man.
Yeah, but we are looking forward to producing more content for you guys. You know, but I've also been doing other projects as well, so I haven't just been sitting on my ass, you know.
Likewise.
One of those projects is one that Larry knows I've been working on for years now.
And I'm very, very excited for when it finally comes out, because I'm definitely buying it right, like literally on launch.
Before we end the podcast, are we done?
Yeah, this is actually everything that we wanted to discuss here. Actually, you sure you don't have any other comments you want to add?
No, basically, we talked about the Retro Raiders, and that's really all you asked me about. You didn't really ask me about anything else, so.
And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everybody for the past few weeks that I've been doing videos and everything, because we have reached a considerable amount of subscribers very recently. So far, we're up to 3.31k subscribers, which is a lot. Like I can't stress it enough when I say thank you guys for the literally overabundance of support that I've been receiving and everything. It really, like, your energy, like your positive energy, is what's keeping Reptile alive. And I'm very grateful that you guys are allowing me to do what I love, really.
But yeah.
So thank you guys for enjoying this episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. I want to apologize also if you made it this far. Like, I want to apologize for not doing it for yesterday, for Thursday, because like usually the podcast usually premieres every Thursday. But the only reason I postponed it was for several reasons. For one thing, there was things like going on in my personal life. There were other projects that I also had to get out of the way, and I wanted to make sure that the entire episode was structured very well before I came on here and did this. But other than that, your support means a lot, and I hope and let's hope to gain more subscribers in the future. Like, continue to share the channel with your friends, your family, anywhere. Thanks for being a part of the New Javon server, because again, it means a lot. There will be some updates regarding the third Reptile movie as time goes on. Like I said, COVID-19 is the reason how come the film has been on an indefinite hold. But don't lose hope, because it's still going to happen. It's just that it's massively delayed because of this situation. But also, just stay up to date with what's going on.
I know how much you guys want me to be, a script writer on the next Reptile movie, but it's not happening, guys. I'm sorry. I fought for it.
Nah, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's all right, man. It's all right. I do want to. I'm always very much open for help and everything. So, in fact, your inputs would definitely mean a lot to me, especially since I already have someone who's also trying to critique how my script is. Anyway, if anything, putting the film on an indefinite hold has only allowed me to kind of look over my writing and see how everything is structured before I move ahead with everything. So there you go.
See, my script originally had some random loser named Dogface appear on screen and then get his neck snapped by the reptile. But that's how we see that happening.
Well, thank you guys for enjoying this episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys next week for the next episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. I want to thank Nightbound92, also known as my best friend Sean, also known as Dark Vice, one half of the Retro Raiders, for being a guest on this podcast. Thank you so much, my friend. You are awesome.
Look, man, thanks for having me.
And I'll see you guys next week on the next episode of the Living Like Larry podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Adios.